Okay, hi, it's Heather Boyd, founder of Nurture Squared, and I'm with Crystal Donak. She is a social media expert from Burlington, Ontario, who has agreed to sit down with us for the next 30 minutes to talk about social media.
Oh no, don't make that face. It's not scary, I promise.
Okay, by the end of the 30 minutes, I won't have that face.
Well, I hope so, but if it's, I hope so. We'll try.
Okay.
Let's not commit to anything, but we'll do our best.
This will be the goal, the aspiration.
Yes.
I won't want to grimace when I say social media. So
no, I don't want you to either.
Well, and you're in the field. I wonder if you could just fill us in on how you ended up where
Sure.
you are and what it is that you do.
All right. Well, I'm happy to be here, so thank you for asking me. This is the second time we've chatted, and you and I have chatted a few times on the phone. So I am a mother, and I have two little ones. I'm currently getting my master's in communications management, and I've been in the communications field now pretty much my entire career. If you count waitressing as developing relationships to make money and business, then since I was a teenager. So I've always loved people, and I love developing relationships. And when I got my first big girl job, I went into politics by accident, and that's a whole nother story we don't have time to talk about today. But I basically ran the politician's office, and everything I did was building relationships. Some of it was online, most of it was offline at the time. And then I went into communicating nuclear research, so that's not easy. So my job was to take what the laboratory, so I work for the biggest laboratory in Canada, and it was my job to take what the scientists did, so nuclear physicists, drill it down and bring out kind of the cool stuff we did at the lab. We were cutting edge research, saving lives, and not just saving lives in Canada, but saving lives internationally. Some of the people that I worked with were on the teams to study Fukushima, and I started there a month after Fukushima. So also not an easy job to be like, hey, nuclear's safer than you think it is. All of that led me to my husband's military, and he moved to Hamilton to advance his career. I moved with him. Hello. Anyway, so all of these things, what a philosophy I developed through my entire career was building relationships is a key to business. Hands down, doesn't matter if you do it online, offline, social media, whatnot. And then when my husband went into medical school, I started my own business, and I wanted to get my master's. So I want to take all the things I learned in these controversial industries, online and offline, and combine it and help other entrepreneurs who don't have big teams, who don't have 10 of you to do it, and teach you how to do it a little bit easier. Make sure you're not making that, oh my God, I have to do social face. I'm scared of social. Because for years I'd always be like, oh, this person's so passionate and so amazing at what they do. I wish I could help them. But I was working for big corporate, I even worked for a hospital, and it was too much. Like, not like the workload, but just like I really wanted to help people who didn't have gigantic teams. 10 of me, okay, yeah, you should be good at it. But to teach entrepreneurs to build their business, building relationships, but what they take, entrepreneurs are amazing relationship builders. You have to be. If you can't build a relationship, you don't have a business. And so to take that ability and move it online sometimes can be scary. So that was a really long-winded explanation of how I got here.
That's great, though, and it's leading me to want to ask you a few questions. So we'll work our way through, and we'll see where these questions go. Whether you answer long or short, we'll still get there. So one of the things that comes up for me when you talk about having worked in a lab environment where you're basically translating knowledge to the layperson and distilling key messages. Maybe you could talk about that, because social media is not writing a book. It's not giving a 1-hour lecture or dissertation.
No.
It is distilling key messages.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
For sure.
Process?
So absolutely. That's a really great question, because communications and public relations sometimes has a bad kind of, people think it's a bad thing, but it's really about taking those key messages. Sometimes you have key messages about your business. Sometimes you have key messages about a program or a service. And sometimes you just have a key message about an industry. And those main topics, those main ideas, those main threads of content should be repeated often. And you should have the ability, as an expert, you naturally have the ability to talk about it for an hour. But sometimes the ability, you're right, to truncate it into one sentence can be challenging. But that's what social media is. But one thing I want to focus on about social is that it's social. The difference about your key messages versus social media is that people are on social media for the social aspect. Where I like to make an analogy of in the 1950s, you could knock on your neighbor's door and ask for sugar. And in some neighborhoods in Canada, you can still do that. And some neighborhoods, don't you dare. I lived in Ottawa for many years and I didn't meet anybody for 2 full years. But online, you can find your tribe, your niche market, your other nurturers who like and do the same things that you do, right? Hello. So the social media, so when you're speaking on social and you're putting content on social, what I really want you to take away from our talk today is to think about your audience, who you're trying to reach and what interests them, not what you have to offer, not your spin on things necessarily, but what is the best way to reach them is to talk about things that are interesting to them. So when I go on Google, I'm starting a new diet, for example, I'm looking, whatever, fat bombs, hashtag fat bombs, I don't know. I'm looking for that specifically, right? So if you're talking to me about high carb diets, it's not interesting to me, I'm gonna scroll past. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, see nodding, perfect. So for you and your audiences, and I know you guys as a group, you work in a nurturing space, there's sometimes a little bit of boundaries and there's some challenges in using social to be as open as you may like. But when you're thinking about your clients, you're trying to, maybe attract isn't the right word, or maybe it is, maybe just garner their attention and get their awareness of kind of what you do or some of the solutions you offer. You have to think about where they're at in the moment when they're searching. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, what are they searching for? What are they looking for when they're on social? Are they looking for their friends and your ad pops up? Are they actually looking for a group, a solution you provide? That's fantastic. Then yes, a blog post or some sort of content that has a little more meat to it is fantastic. But finding that kind of sweet spot of engaging and interesting for your clients. If you put yourself in your client's shoes, and I think for your group that is going to be watching this on your group page, sorry, it's 8:30, whoops, your Facebook group, they'll understand what I'm saying because they have to be empathetic all the time. You guys are natural empaths. You would naturally have that ability to, yes, to create that boundary, but to also think about how that's affecting your client, how their life is affecting their emotions or their decisions or whatever. And so when you're thinking about what to put on social, put yourself in that position where you're sitting with a client and what do they need? What are they interested in hearing? And it may not be the solution yet. Okay, I see you asking, ready for a question.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. And here's why. Because I think most of us that are in Nurture Squared are people that have a particular background in working with clients and building that connection, right? Building a relationship. What we never learned anything about was the pre-relationship or the relationship with someone who isn't already your client.
Yeah.
Many of us have come from hospital or clinic background.
Yeah. And they're kind of given to you, right?
Yeah. The clients or patients arrive. Either the hospital's advertising or they simply not, because that's the main game in town and they already have a reputation. So it's the relationship with people who are not yet your clients.
Yeah.
You're approaching them with the same sense of empathy and connection as you are your client. I haven't thought of that before that way.
And can I add something to that thought? They're earlier in the journey than your clients at a hospital. They may not be ready for your solution yet. You know what I mean? They may just be They may not have admitted they even have when I say problem, it could be anything. I'm hungry, that's a problem. Anything that's sold, because it's sold means somebody has a problem. I'm solving a problem, right? Okay. So they may not have admitted they have a problem, but they're searching. So in social media and online advertising and your websites, they're there to start the relationship, to start that step towards you. Now I'm going to make a kind of I'm going to make a good analogy. When you go to date, we all were there. If a guy came up to you or a woman came up to you and said, hey, can I have your number? And they're like right in your face. You're like, whoa, gotta go. Right? And online relationship building and in-person relationship building is the exact same thing. And sometimes online takes a little bit longer because that trust factor isn't there yet. And you said trust because they already trust the hospital, or maybe they don't, but they know they have to be there, right? So sometimes when they're searching for you or they're stumble across you, they're not ready to buy, but they're ready to find out a little bit more. And social media is a long game. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to bring you returns tomorrow. It's work. It is. But once you get it, it's fun. It's exciting. It's ever changing. I love all these things myself. And I love the social aspect. So when you're thinking about your clients, I want you to think about going back to, yes, you're used to coming from these other spaces when they were already ready to sit down in your chair. Mm-hmm. When they're looking online, they may not be there yet, especially for the type of clients I think most of you kind of deal with.
Right. Well, and I would add, the other side of that analogy is that instead of being in your face, most of us
are not.
Many of us are either introverted or very reserved, or either by nature or through, in terms of our roles. So we were like the one standing in the dark corner wondering why no one paying attention to us.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. Okay, we've all been there though. I am the most outgoing woman I've ever met, annoyingly so, and trust me, I was that wallflower too. What I meant by in your face is like, I was making the analogy of the sales analogy. And I know most of you in this group are not in your face salespeople. Absolutely not. I completely get that. What?
That is, we're trying to get on social media, and I think
it's hard.
About the relationship, and you're telling a story, basically.
Yep. Always tell a story.
And so I think for many of us, we're not used to telling that story. It feels vulnerable, it feels personal.
It feels what? Sorry, I want to hear that word again.
It feels vulnerable and it feels personal in a way that many of us aren't used to knowing how to negotiate that boundary and still be professional. It's growing pains for that piece.
I completely, and we talked about this last time. And sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't tape it, so we're here again, and that's totally fine. I love it. I will come back however many times. So I completely understand that you're not the only, on the flip side of being so open, like the Kim Kardashians, then there's so many more people who are the complete other end of the spectrum. So you're not anomalies by any means. You're not, many people are like that. And actually, that's why there's not as many businesses as there actually technically should be on Facebook. Like, for example, Facebook is 2.5 billion active users every day worldwide. There's only 66 million businesses on there. That's it. So that comparison is not, and if you were to go in your hometown and you make the comparison of a number of businesses to number of people per capita, there's so much growth potential on Facebook and its avenues and other avenues too, but we're going to focus on Facebook for now. That's that reason. People are I think that'll change as the Gen X's come up, but I would never presume to know how old you are, but I'm 38. So people my age and older sometimes are a little leery of stepping into that space and we understand we were analog and now we're digital, right? So there's that we weren't born into it. So that natural ability to just, hey, here's my life. And also There's the connection of what you do. When you're sitting across from somebody who's telling you some deeply personal stuff, there has to be a level of professionalism, right? There has to be the boundaries. They don't get to know what you had for breakfast. They don't get to know that your kids were sick yesterday, because it's all about them. However, I need you to think about your social media not in that context. They are not in your chair yet. They are not your clients yet. So all of you should really take a think, sit down and think about what your boundaries are, what you're willing to tell the world. You may tell them about your children, you may not, and that is fine. You do have to tell them something. Social media is social. You have to tell them something. But they want to know. People, like, as you get more popular online or you create a following, they're going to want to know what you had for breakfast. I know it sounds silly. People care that you had an iced tea latte. Not every day. But once in a while, think about your celebrity or somebody you think is really interesting or cool. Whoa, how do they do it? You know, what's behind the closed doors? And social media opens those doors. So finding those boundaries that are comfortable for you are really important. And you may have to stretch your boundaries a little bit. It's not, and I want you to think about it not in the context of, I'm sitting across from a client. There's definitely boundaries that need to happen. It's a different space. And if you can think about it in a different space, even mentally picture yourself in a different space. When you're doing social, maybe don't be in your office. You know, like, and that little tweak might help you be a little bit more vulnerable because you don't have that professional surrounding. I don't know, you're nodding, so I don't.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm starting to think too that I want to make sure that we talk about, even go beyond Facebook, because that idea of it's a different space,
sure,
and relationship, that makes a lot of sense. And
yep.
Then figuring out how that fits in with our professional obligation boundaries,
yeah.
our personal obligations and boundaries.
Yep.
But that it looks different. It's going to be different.
It has to be.
So let's talk about
okay.
all the different options out there. And
sure.
How is there a way to group them all together,
yes.
or is there a way that you siphon out which ones are more important?
Yeah.
And how does that change over time?
So and I'm going to repeat the question back as I understand it. Are you talking about the different platforms because there's so many? Okay. It's overwhelming. Like, hands down.
Yeah.
Like, it is too much. Do you hear me stumble over? Yeah, it's too much. The only thing I want all of you to do is pick one to start. And the way to pick the best one is the question I heard. Where is your audience? Are you dealing with teens who are homeless? You want to be on Instagram. So maybe they still have a phone, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, if you're dealing with teens and under 30 and it's a little bit of a lifestyle thing, Instagram, focus on Instagram and learn how to create those relationships there. Facebook's the easiest. It's got the most analytics and everybody's on Facebook. It really do. If you're dealing with DIY addicted moms, then maybe you want to be on Pinterest, right? So, like, where's your audience and where could they be looking for you? Where could they be stumbling upon you, right? Yeah. Who's your audience and what are they likely to use? That's where you should be. Always.
For those of us who are not as social media savvy.
Yeah.
I know, I have a Twitter account. I have multiple Twitter accounts.
You don't need Twitter. I can tell you right now, honey, your clients are not on Twitter. I'll tell you. Don't waste your time.
And so how do we know? We know? I mean, because Facebook is the go-to. If you're going to start with one, like, start with that one. But
yeah.
How do you figure it?
Yeah, I recommend with Facebook. Well, if anybody's interested and they want to do a chat with me just to kind of figure out how to start, then just message me. I'm in the group, and I'm also, you can private message me. I'll no problem sit down and give you a chat on where to start with your specific target audience, because everyone's kind of different. But the thing is, running a business, and this is getting a little bit away from social media and into marketing, but the two go hand in hand. When you're marketing your business, ideally when you started, you thought who your ideal client was right? You have a list, and if you didn't, you should Google this and go do it. You have a client avatar. He's a married man who cheats on his wife and is addicted to smoking. I don't know, I'm making something up, right? And what are all his pain points, and why would he come to see you? Or you're a couples counselor, and predominantly the wife calls you first. So you attract your clients through the woman, and then the husband and the woman come together, but you need to have a little bit of marketing for both, right? So when you're doing that client avatar or avatars, depending on who, like maybe it's family counseling, I'm not sure, but whoever that is, then you can do a Google search on what platforms they use. Facebook is a kind of an easy go-to completely. Everybody's on it. Even the teenagers who say they're not on it, they're on it. I never advertise, or I don't work with clients who advertise to anybody under 18. So I don't advertise, or like I said, I don't do advertisements for other people for children. That's just something I don't do. Yep. I see a hand up.
This has come up before, but I've never actually asked anyone that I've spoken to define it. So
okay.
I have this working definition in my head, but you brought up pain points.
Yes.
Tell us what pain points are.
Oh, absolutely. So remember how I said earlier in the interview, I talked about a problem. So pain points are the symptoms of the problem. So I'm going to use a weight loss pain point and a weight loss example, even though it may not be as relevant to your organization. But actually, some of you could be counselors for that. Food is like an addiction for sure. So my pain points for losing weight could be, I am married and I'm not happy with my body. I've lost the passion out of my relationship because I feel fat. I don't want to stand in front of a crowd and speak, even though my job requires me to do public speaking. I'm shy. I'm the wallflower because I'm not happy. I don't have the confidence I need. All of those things are pain points. They're literally, as I'm telling you, I've felt this before. It's literally turning my stomach. So my problem is that I need to lose weight, or that's what I think it could be. It could be, we all know that problems have multiple solutions. But in my head, in my beginning of my journey, my pain is that I don't feel confident, and they may even not know that they don't feel confident, but those are all the pain points. Why am I sitting, eating ice cream, crying because I can't get enough clients for my business? What are all those reasons? Those are your pain points. What hurts? And literally my pain point for a new detangler spray for my daughter could be that I don't want her to cry and me to get frustrated. That's my pain point. So then you'll see marketing where the mom's literally just brushing her hair like ease. Oh my God, I need that. Solving my pain. Because the kid's not screaming, the kid's not pulling away, right? So that's what pain points are. And the more you can think and put yourself, and I think it should be easy. Once you get the concept, it'll be really easy for all of you, I believe, because you've sat across your clients for so long, listening to their pain, right? Yeah. But now just envision what it was before they came to your chair, before they realized that they needed to come to you, right? Does that make sense?
It reminds me of something that one of my mentors early in my practice said to me was, when a family or a mom or a dad asks you a question, often it's just the question, like it's straightforward. Yeah. Usually they're actually asking something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And pulling back the layers to figure out what that something else is. We're used to doing that face to face with a client or patient in the room. Social media is about figuring out how to let them know that that is what you can help support. In
a way that they're going to find interesting. Yes.
Right. Okay.
I know. I'm just making it more and more difficult.
We're almost out of time.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm going to ask you, I know you've talked about boundaries. You've talked about storytelling. The key message you wanted is that we need to think about our audience.
Yes. First, always.
First and always. Not what you have to offer, like not what we are selling, not what we're able to support them with, but what is there.
Not what interests you.
Right.
Does that make sense? Not what interests you, what interests them.
Right.
And the more it's about them, the more they're going to buy from you. Like, honestly, that's how it goes. Like, I know it sounds cold, but it's not. You're caring for your clients. And then you get a little, like, it goes around and comes around.
And I think what it comes down to is all of us, we would not be in our own business if we didn't think we had something valuable to offer.
Absolutely.
And the biggest challenge is figuring out, you know, we have this experience and this passion and this expertise, and it's lining up with the market that's out there so that we can actually use our skills and be able to support people.
Yeah, for sure. Because it may be somebody who doesn't need to go to the hospital, but they need help 10 steps before the hospital, right? And then they never have to go to the hospital. How amazing would that be? Like, I get it. I totally get it.
So what if, I mean, that's your number one point, and it's sinking in because
Good.
I've heard the message, but I'm a slow, slowly.
This is my expertise. This is my genius zone, right? Everyone has a different one.
Well, and so many schools and programs, I think, because most people in healthcare and most people in helping professions have gone to school to work for an institution.
Yep.
Amount of energy or curriculum or even mention that private practice, you know, in my field, the only private practice stuff that's mentioned is insurance and, and auto industry.
And then go on, little birds. I get it. Doctors, same thing.
Is there any other key message that we haven't covered? Like one other nugget or thing that?
No, because the ones I gave you are the most important. I don't want to add anything else because those are the biggies. I do have a free little Facebook course. So if you're new and you're listening to this and you don't know how to do Facebook, you don't know how to set up your page and you want to or do ads, I have a course that's free. You just put your email in and create a password, and there's some videos that walk you through it and some great downloadables. And it's also talks to you about your clients and that kind of stuff. So I'll give it to Heather, or I'll post, actually, once you put this up, I'll post it, the link.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that when we post it on YouTube, the link goes there too.
Oh, cool.
And how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so this is a Facebook group. You can just private message me. And if you do want to talk about your clients or how to reach them, a little, like where they might be or kind of some of their pain points, I'm open to chatting. And I think Heather would tell you I'm pretty nice. So not intimidating at all. And we just sit like this and have a chat, and I pick at your brain, and then I give you some advice. So I'm open to that. And it is 9:01. Good timing.
You know what? There's one thing about moms in business. We may be late showing up for things, but we are on time when things end. So we're going to call it now.
Yep.
Run up and get the rest of the kids in bed.
Yes.
Crystal, thank you for sharing this.
No problem. All right. All right. Bye. Where do we go? There.